welcome again to Let's Talk Real Estate. I am Jay Bridgeball with Remax West, the Bridge team.
And I am Andre Dawkins with Expert Mortgage. If the bank says no way, call Andre. Even if the bank says yes way, still call Andre.
And I'm Andrew Hilton with the Bridge team, Remax West.
Thank you. Now, Andre, we heard about all this hype about, stress test mortgage rate might be going up and, everyone is panicking. The real estate market will fall. What are your prediction? What is it really the stress test when it comes to mortgage? For me, stress test means, I go on a treadmill and I run a little bit and the doctor puts some things on my heart.
Yes.
But how does it apply to mortgages?
Well, basically, that's a good analogy there. Stress tests, I know the word is very daunting and confusing to the average listener, right? Basically, a stress test, it's not as per se like you take an Advil or relieve stress from being medicated or whatever the case may be. It's more a situation where basically the government knows rates are on the rise, so they're trying to make sure that those getting a mortgage will be able to bear those higher interest rates when that time comes around.
And at the end of it is more security for the lenders themselves too, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's more security for the lenders because if rates go up, they know that, hey,
They're
you
protected.
can carry the load.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The financial load you can carry.
Exactly.
Right.
So, I mean, the stress test is not something new, although it's been publicized now, because in the past, somebody getting a variable mortgage had to undergo a stress test anyways, right? This was from before. You had to qualify on the benchmark rate from the Bank of Canada. And what happened, they then implemented to the first-time buyers as of November of last year. And since now, coming up this January 1st, there's going to be a new phase of this stress test where now they're going to apply it to conventional mortgages. So that means everybody going to refinance with a federal aid chartered bank is going to have to undergo having to qualify with a 2% higher rate than what they're actually getting.
So really, that's not something new. I mean, stress tests have already been around an entire year for people who put less than 20% down.
Correct.
So it's only now who are above 20%, they are having the stress test. So really
Yes.
something is not something to really panic and worry about.
Yes, in a nutshell. I mean, for the most part, yes, it's going to be a little bit of, mixed emotions, to say the least, at the start, right? Because, yes, people are going to qualify for less than they normally would have, right? So, this might make people have to stay in certain mortgages longer than they normally would, switch around and go from one lender to the next when it comes time for a renewal date. 5 years in, they might want to consolidate their debts, which now, based on knowing this information is coming, anybody out there should be looking at refinancing today, right?
Speaking of switching from lenders to lenders, I mean, some people might be at a disadvantage where that is concerned. I mean, not having the option whereby they can shop around mortgage like they used to. So that might be an issue for a lot of person looking to go that route, right?
Yeah, definitely. Because let's say I want to move from one bank to another bank, then I may have to be requalified based on the stress test.
Correct.
Whereas with that same bank, it's just automatic renewal.
Yeah.
So the bank I'm with currently will put some pressure on me because they know that maybe I'm borderline. They'll say, hey, you know what? You might as well stay with us, take this interest rate, pay your renewal fee, and stay right here, versus close it off and move to another bank.
Yep.
And on the same token is that the other lenders who are not regulated, because not all the lenders are regulated by this new rule.
Correct.
They might be in a position where they're getting a lot more business, so it
Yes.
opens up a whole new ball game, right?
Correct. So, I mean, people have to get comfortable with maybe having to pay fees for a mortgage, whereas in the past they would never have to pay fees because they would go to a bank and be qualified.
That's true. They lost that ability to negotiate, right? How would it affect people who have line of credits?
Line of credits, as long as they're already pre-existing, again, there's no effect, right? But if they're trying to get one, the line of credit, that's a little bit of a gray area right now because, as I said before, line of credits were already being qualified on a stress test, but it was the benchmark rate. They're now proposing to be 2% higher than the fixed rate. So that essentially could be higher than even the benchmark rate of Canada, which is right now currently 4.99%. So, for example, if somebody has a 5-year fixed of 3.59, then 2 points higher than that means 5.59 to qualify on.
So
right?
now, if I have a big line of credit, let's say, Andrew, now what happened? What the bank will do? They'll say, hey, I will reverse that and reduce it.
I mean, you've been around long enough
but
to
it's
witness
just-
that,
right.
you know, that these things have happened in the past, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when there was a downturn in the market back in 1981,
Yes.
right? This
Yes.
occurred, right? But again, I don't see that happening now. As you know, yes, prices have corrected, but I think they have done a decent job in, you know, keeping it marginal and not too large, right?
And with this with this stress test coming up soon, I see a lot of more activities in the market. More people are rushing to get a mortgage pre-approved
Oh, yeah.
before that time comes, right?
For sure, yeah. Which is a great thing.
Yeah, I see the market have actually picked up quite a bit in October, at least 12% more in number of sales, not necessarily price, but sales have increased, which means if there are more sales, more supply is being used up, and which create a little bit more demand for housing.
Oh, yeah.
And that by itself will cause price to start
Just
to
going
go
back, go back
a
up.
little bit.
It's you can see it happening, and I mean even on listings you see a lot more activities. So that
Yeah.
that itself is a plus for especially our sellers, right?
Yeah.
They like to see prices go up.
Yeah, so the market, on the other hand, is moving up. What will happen, let's say, coming January? What are your prediction, Andrew? Do you think the market will just go?
No, I don't foresee that. I believe it's gonna balance out a little bit more, and a balanced market is good for all involved, right? It's more catering to people that can actually want to buy a home as opposed to just trying to buy and sell and make money.
Right.
Yeah,
That-
so I think Andrew touched on saying about, you know, the other lenders that are out there available. So at the end of the day, there's still options for those looking to purchase, right? So it will still, as he said,
What I-
balance everything.
What I believe probably will come back is longer amortization in order to allow people to purchase more.
Correct.
Well, look at it this way. They said for disposable income, for every person, for every dollar of disposable income, the average debt load on someone is $1.66 to 67 cents.
Yeah.
Right? Means that people are time they get $1, they're spending $1.67.
And that right there, my friend, is the exact problem as to what has been tried to curb by the government.
That's why they're bringing all the stress tests to make sure you can carry
You
your
can carry the
financial
stress.
burden in case
Correct.
interest rate goes up.
Yeah, because they're using their home like a piggy bank, right?
Their home is
So-
a ATM machine, as they said, right? They just got money thing,
Yeah.
get their money out.
Exactly.
That's causing the debt load to go up tremendously. Now, many people, I don't think they can even realize that. Just winding back, I can remember when I bought my first home in 1989, I was paying 12% interest rate.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, that's
right?
crazy.
And
man.
that wasn't bad, and 7 was very, very good. Today you look at it, 5, 6, 7 is not unusual,
Oh, yeah.
right? So these are things that can affect us tremendously.
Yeah, the only difference there is that back then house prices and the
Well,
mortgage
well,
carrying was a
well,
lot less,
less.
right? So what's scary now is these big
price.
mortgage amounts that people have. If the rates reach that high, then that's a whole nother topic of discussion, right?
No,
So
let's say rates gone up. Current interest rate, you can get a 5-year for
right now
Next.
from a chartered bank around 3.29, 3.39, 3.44, floating around there,
So
3.59.
So let's say go from 3.5 to 4 for 100,000. How much that will cause my payment to go up roughly?
To 4,
To
100,000. Well, for every 100,000, rule of thumb, it's about $500. So now with that increase of the rate, maybe another 50 to 100. Like it's more around $50 for
Okay,
that amount.
so
yeah.
50 out of that's a 10% jump on my monthly payment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
$50 on a 500. That's 10% jump. That's a lot of money.
Oh yeah, it is.
That's a lot. That means that 10% more of my income technically have to go towards my mortgage. I gotta pay more.
And on the same token, too, I mean, with the stress test and all that being implemented, your purchasing power is way less, right? It's way less than what it is right now. So a lot of people are going to be forced to just continue renting
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
go to bank of mom and dad.
Yes. hold that thought right there. We'll discuss that a little bit more, where the market is heading. We will be back shortly after this break. We'll talk really about what you will see early next year in the market. See you soon.
Discover the incredible India.
Welcome back. We are talking about what is involved in the stress test for mortgages. How would it affect the market? What's really going on? We hear all these rumors that, you know what, coming January, it might be doomsday, price may tumble, interest rate will go up, people may not to buy. It's not that much to worry over. Let's hear, Andrew, what's your prediction?
I continue. I strongly believe that there will be a balanced market whereby again buyers will benefit to the extent where that they're able to actually buy at a reasonable rate as opposed to all this bidding war. For a first-time buyer, what I would strongly recommend is that they get pre-approval. If you can get it now, that would be great. The banks more than likely will try to.
Let's Andre that question. Andre, so I'm a first-time buyer. Not necessarily first time. I'm a buyer, right? I don't really want to buy until February next year. Would that stress test affect me, or what should I do to protect myself?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, the stress test will still be a factor, but at least the rate you can lock in
hold.
from now, right?
Okay.
As long as you have good credit and everything like this, then yes, you can consult with a bank or a mortgage broker, and they can get you a pre-approval where it'll hold that rate for up to 120 days.
Okay, so all I'll benefit is if there is a rate hike, I'm protected. But come January, they will qualify me based on the new
rules because the purchase happened after the date. Say you
Okay.
get into an agreement now, as in before November 16th, as the first-time buyer stress test, they grandfather the old rules, right? Where you don't have to have a stress test if you purchase before
November the 16th?
Exactly.
So if I
2016,
purchase in
yeah.
December,
Then
closing in
you're
January,
out of
I am
luck.
under stress test.
Yeah, and that's stress.
You need meds.
That's a lot of stress.
Trying to crunch everything within a short time.
Within 2 weeks, so that's almost impossible. But then again, it's only will be implemented for the remainder of the people.
Correct.
And
right?
eventually everyone, I think, is going to get used to it, just like all the other changes that have been made.
Yeah.
Eventually.
As time goes by, it becomes
It's
the
just that
norm.
with anything that's new, sometimes it's hard to adapt to it.
That's a very important area. Now, knowing where the market is going, we figure that the market will stay stable. You will find that, as you said, it will be more of a balanced market. And really, the government looking at all ways to make real estate not as a business commodity. It's more of somewhere for people to live.
Yeah,
So it must remain to be affordable. I heard some of the new changes that are coming up is that they may not allow you, for example, if you got a first mortgage, they may have in their mortgage commitment that you mean you cannot have a second mortgage.
Yeah, I mean that again is a standard practice already, but yes,
They might
but
now
they might now enforce
they might
make it-
enforce
yes.
it.
Correct.
So
correct.
what many people do in the past is that they will get a first mortgage. 2 weeks later, they will register a second mortgage.
Yes.
Now the bank never really enforce any penalties. They
Yeah.
can literally come back and say, "Hey, no, you violated the mortgage terms.
So now
Your
we're
mortgage
No.
become due and payable, or else we'll put your property under power sale. Go find another mortgage."
correct. That very much
Right.
could be a possibility. Yes.
You can see that happening more,
Yeah. Yeah.
putting pressure.
And these are more reasons why people should not go outside of the box, but try to stay within their means and buy what they
you're
can
so
afford.
right. Buy
Correct.
within your means. I mean, you'll qualify for less, but there is a reason why
Yes.
you're qualified for
Exactly.
less.
Exactly. And that's
Right?
very important. Very important.
Quickly, Andre, how does a bank qualify a typical buyer? What are some of the basic criteria?
Well, I mean, there's three criteria to a mortgage, right? And it's the property, and your credit, and your income.
Okay.
So you have to have 2 out of the 3 going for you, basically.
okay.
Right? So, you know, banks, they want your score to be above 600, and you should have at least 2 trading lines. A trading line is a credit card, or a line of credit, or a loan,
Car payment.
car payment, et cetera, right?
Okay.
Now, there are some credit products that are better than the others, like revolving credit as opposed to installment loans and things of that nature, right? So you want to have 2 revolving trading lines, right? And basically, the income threshold will determine what you qualify for. With the current stress test rules prior to November, if you had 80 grand of income, you would qualify for about 520,000 purchase price. And now you're in and around the range of 350 to 400, depending on factors like property tax and whether there's a condo fee or not.
That's a significant reduction. I mean, and what can you really get for 350, 400?
Yeah, a good question. The situation here is that I'm qualified now for 400 versus 550, so I can't buy it.
The only other
Right.
option is to put more down payment, or
But we don't have more money either.
Then
I can't go and get a second mortgage anymore because
might
that
have to
will
get a
affect-
co-signer there.
So what will happen? Maybe you will find more people will be in rentals, stay in rentals for the beginning.
That and the condo market is booming.
The
But
condo
that-
As a
market will
result,
be
that
because
is-
that's where the affordability will go.
And
Correct.
the prices have been increasing in that area steadily, right?
Yes.
So that's pretty soon that probably become unaffordable too.
Right, so the condo market is going up. House prices are already here, but the houses are not moving. You may see the price in houses start to simmer down a little bit.
And that will benefit everyone. I mean, I think that's what the government really want to have,
Yes.
affordability so everyone has an equal opportunity, as opposed to the rich guys taking the big piece of the pie, right?
That the way it should be. That home ownership is a necessity.
Yes.
Right, it's a way of building wealth. Is you need shelter at the same
You
time.
can't live in a mutual
You
fund.
can't-
You can't live. You
of
need a home, right?
course, You can, right, and it's nice that when you come, you pay rent for a little while, but eventually you want to go and buy your own property,
Yeah.
right? That's a very, very important aspect of home ownership. I guess that's why the government are coming out with all the various rules where they are hitting speculators heavily as
Yes,
well.
and
Oh,
you know
yes,
the
yes.
debt level of lots of Canadians are pretty high, right? And that's a factor that they weighing that into, right? Interest rate gonna be going up, so they have to try to balance everything out.
Yeah.
You touched on a good thing there with the speculators. What's your foresight on that for the prediction aspect?
I think the problem that we had seen in the past is more based on local speculators than they're saying all the outsiders
buyers,
buying
yeah.
foreign buyers. I don't think we have that much foreign buyers. It's
Small
the local
percentage.
guy that are causing the problem.
Oh, yeah.
Now the government recently come up with many different aspects to curb at that. Number one, they're saying, hey, if you buy or sell your home in a year time, we want it. We know they got a category
gotta
in your
report
income
it.
tax form. We want it seen. Right? If you are buying a property with intention to flip it, they're going to the builder and say, hey, give me the original list of buyers and give me the original list of buyers when they bought and when they close. If they bought in A name and close in B name, they already know it's a flip and they want their share as well. All right, so that's what's happening. They're getting into all these areas to getting the speculators to back off a little bit.
Yeah, the
And
scary.
so far they have been doing it. That's one of the reasons why things have changed the way it has, right?
Yes, definitely. The speculators get a little bit scared and are backing off. They may soon tell him, hey, this is not considered capital gains because you're doing it as a business. This is a business income instead. And you know what? You got to pay your fair share of taxes.
What's due to Caesar? You got to give to Caesar, right?
Of course. That's a very important area, as well, right?
The tax man
Yeah, they have
wants
to
their
get their
cut.
share.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now, quick question. I have a 5-year mortgage, 1 year remaining from it. It's coming due, let's say, next year. Interest rate might be going up. What might be a good idea for me to do? Would you advise me to probably break that, go renegotiate? What are the best things
The
to do?
key factor is whether you have debts, consumer debts on the side, right? If you have consumer debts on the side, then 100% you should do it now and still have the chance to stay with a chartered bank, right?
Right?
If you don't have any debts and you're fine, then you're okay to let it renew. I mean, at the end of the day, rates are probably higher now than what you had signed then at that time based on the 5-year cycle. So
Okay.
it's probably to your advantage depending on what you're sitting with there.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So, what would you suggest? You know, the variable rate that goes up and down all the time, or a fixed rate?
Basically, that depends on the circumstances, but overall variable kind of wins depending as long as you have a big enough spread, like prime minus 0.5. Anything greater than that, you're okay.
Yeah, because you're really the lower the interest rate, more of your money is going towards your principal.
Correct.
Less is going towards the interest, right?
Correct.
So really and truly, riding in the lowest interest rate, let's say for a year or two in variable, you're really saving and paying down your mortgage up front,
Yep,
right? That's a good area.
definitely.
Yeah. So what we'll do, let's take a break and we'll be back soon with more on real estate.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Okay, welcome back, guys. We're gonna be touching a little bit on investment, for example, investing in a second property. Now, Jay, from your experience, I mean, what would you say one of the best investment is?
Well, the best
with-
investment on earth, I always say, is art itself, right? Real estate. You can feel, touch, and see it, right? Real estate is something never spoil. Over the years, interest rates have gone up and down and go sideways and everything else. Real estate prices have gone up and down and sideways. But on a long term, we have seen
Continuous growth, yes.
We have seen growth. Just imagine any one of you listening out there. You bought your property 5, 6, 7 years ago. Would you be? How would you like to have 2 or 3 of those properties going up at the same time? Right. That's where the benefit is. Now, I have my property, let's say, and I pay it down by 2/3. Could you, Andre, walk me through the process? What is involved in getting money to buy another property? Now, remember, would the bank qualify me in the first place to buy a second property?
So for this, definitely you want to speak to a mortgage professional and get professional advice where you are being led on the right path, right?
Yes.
And with that being said, someone needs to do their due diligence, crunch all the numbers, and see what the thresholds are. And then based on that, you then work on refinancing the existing home
Yes.
to pull out enough equity that you can purchase the second home.
So in other words, one shouldn't think about investment until they actually gone and gotten a pre-approval.
Correct.
Pretty
Correct. You have to do your homework.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Makes
but
sense.
we can handle it. You can handle that, right?
Yeah,
what,
for sure.
what would be the number that people can contact you at?
My number is 647-991-7325. Again, that's 647-991-7325.
Okay, so the process is very simple, really. Your home value has gone
gone
up, your mortgage have gone down. The difference in between is considered
Equity.
your
Equity.
Correct.
So what really you're doing, you are scooping some of that equity and you are utilizing it to buy an investment property. Now,
Yes.
the way the bank work is that I already got a little bit of mortgage on my current home. If I'm going to buy another home, what criteria would they use to qualify? Remember, I'm getting income might be coming in from that other home soon.
Yes, so you're absolutely right. We can use the rental income
Okay.
to offset the ratios, which ratios is basically income in versus expenses coming out, and you have to meet a certain threshold to qualify at the banks.
And for a second property, we need to have at least 20% down. Correct?
20,
Yeah.
25 in some cases
Yeah,
now
okay.
as well.
Okay. But the nice thing here is that you're taking the money from your line of credit on one property and you're buying another property.
Yes.
And with the line of credit too, you likely have a lower interest rate on that, right?
The interest rate on line of credit is slightly
pretty low.
higher, no?
Some depends on the product, right?
The
There's
product,
by default, yes, prime plus 5, but there's a great product called a Manulife One, which is prime minus 0.5, and that product is interest charged daily, right? So that is a great way to tap into your equity and have money available to you when you need it, and then you can leverage to purchase the new property, and that new property, the payments can all be coming from this line of credit, where now you're dumping the rental income in there as well as your disposable income, and you could be off on the races to a good start to your financial freedom.
And providing we have to also look at getting an investment property. Yes, we need to look at the tenant side of it.
Well, that's an important area.
Very
But
important.
before I get into that aspect of it, let me just wind back. A client of mine in 1991, for example, they bought a property in Rexdale for $190,000.
That must be a million years now.
Right, but look, then the guy only invested $50,000 to buy that property, 20% down, 25% down, let's say, right? From then to now, he have collected in rent over 25 years. We collected over $400,000 in rent. When you
Wow.
look at it from the big scheme.
That's a lot of
right?
money.
1,500 times 12 times 25, a lot of money.
Plus the appreciation on the
The
property.
property have appreciated also from 200,000, let's say,
Probably what,
to
800,
$750,000. That's an additional $500,000 in profit.
That's
Not
900.
that alone. He took out money 4 times along the road out of that 25 year and bought 4 more properties, each currently bringing in $2,000 per month rent.
That's powerful.
pretty much. That pretty much he's pretty much retired now.
Right. So now 5 properties at $2,000 really add up when you look at it. That's $10,000, $120,000 per year. Considering then he invested only
Only
$50,000. But I want our people to understand the long-term benefit
Yep.
of owning real estate, because that's a very, very important category.
But
Speaking of long term, I mean, real estate should be seen as not a get rich quick, but more of a long term.
The long-term plan.
Definitely.
Right. Yeah.
Most definitely.
That's now with the commercial mortgage. How does commercial rate works? Could I got about $300,000. Should I invest in a residential property or should I get into commercial? What are your thoughts?
Commercial is a good investment vehicle because you have multiple units, right? So
Right.
again, back to the same concept that you just touched on there, right?
More
Having
doors.
2,000 times 5, right,
Yeah,
equals
yes.
more revenue,
More
right?
doors to
Yeah,
collect
more
from,
doors,
yes.
more revenue, right? So yes, commercial mortgages are more expensive and it requires a bigger down payment to get into it. But yes, in terms of cash flowing, you're in a better position.
Okay, so I want to buy a simple sixplex for a 6-unit apartment building. Let's say the property about $800,000 or $900,000. Could you walk us through that process? What's involved?
So that process for a property like that, the zoning is very particular, the key to what amount of down payment would be required for it,
Right.
right? So let's just say it's
A sixplex will consider residential.
residential sixplex. So
Right.
you're going to be looking at, as long as the buyer profile is strong,
Right.
then you're looking at 20% down to getting that properly financed, and obviously the rental income offsets for the approval process, right? So it's not like your hard-earned income alone to qualify for that full mortgage, right? Because you're using the rents that the building is providing,
Providing.
right, to qualify.
So that's interesting. Really, let's say you buy a property for $1 million, you're putting 20% down. That's $200,000 only, right? So that's not too bad, considering as complete 6-unit apartment, you might be getting an average net income about $50 to $55 to almost $60,000.
Yeah,
That's after your expense.
correct.
So
a
the
good
bank
investment.
look at the rate of return, or what we call indirectly a cap rate,
Correct.
about 5 to 5.5%.
Correct.
Yeah.
On the investment side, if you're just starting out, I wouldn't strongly recommend that you jump into the commercial side. I would think you start on the residential side and work your way up.
Build yourself up, yeah.
That's a good way to look at it. Number one, someone should have at least 3 or 4 residential properties,
And then-
building wealth, and as they start to build wealth, expand
Then-
there, and then scoop money from that to put it in the bigger investment. But you got to start small.
Correct. Plus, you get to learn with the
The whole-
punches, right? As things happen, how to deal with your tenants and things like this, because it's an experience, right?
It is an experience. As you rightly said, most people don't want to buy rental property because of
The-
experience.
yeah,
with
Exactly.
the tenants.
Tenants.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's a very touchy subject, and one should do the due diligence in, especially don't try to do everything on your own in terms of getting a tenant, but seek professional advice.
Right. I've just seen it the other day, actually, where the person invested. Where was it? It's in Vancouver, where the guy was renting to people from the city, and the person leave all the garbage. The place was a dump. All right. So these are important when you are really screening tenants what to look for, right? I always tell my clients, first thing you gotta look at it this way. Number one, yes, human right is very important, and I do respect that, and I don't want to discriminate in any way or form. However, homes must be rested as well. That's why I personally, if I'm looking at a home, a tenant that is working spend
Busy.
more time out of the home than in the home.
Better.
Right, which means the home have more relaxation time. Right.
It's a good way to put it. Another good tip for anybody looking for a tenant, a good thing to do would be to ask to see where they currently live before you
Another
lease them
thing,
your place, right?
another thing they can do is make Google your best friend and research them. Go on their social
Yes.
media platform.
Yes.
I mean, even drive by their current home to see how they arrange to meet them at their current home. See how they live right now. That's gonna give you a clear indication as to what they're gonna be like when they come to your property.
That's so true. Let's take a break, and when we get back, we'll talk more about securing the best tenants. And for tenants, we'll talk a little bit how you can get out of tenancy and get into home ownership. See you soon.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Hello and welcome back to Let's Talk Real Estate. Now, I have Andre with me here and Andrew Hilton from the Bridge team. Andre is the guy that said the bank say no way, then call Andre. Right?
Even if the bank say yes way.
That's correct.
Yes. Now, let me ask you this question. We are talking about tenants. Andrew, what will be a few good tips for a landlord looking for great tenants? What really make a great tenants when we hear about all these tenants from hell out there?
First and foremost, like I said, we have to do our due diligence.
Right.
And a simple mean could be, like I said, check their social media platform, look at where they currently live, look at their income. You need a good credit report to begin with. Solid jobs. People that are in good jobs usually like you want to focus more on them ability to pay as opposed to not necessarily focusing solely on the credit. Their ability to pay is important. A person in a good job over a long period of time will not want to run any risk in terms of losing that job, their pension and stuff like that.
Of course.
In the event they don't pay, you have the ability to also garnish their wages. Right. So I mean, there's so many different factors, but seek professional advice. Don't just jump up and try to do it.
Let's face it, 90% of, 95% of people who are renting are generally good people.
True.
All right? It's just about you got a few bad apples within the group that you got to protect yourself against, right?
Correct.
Majority of people, they are honest, working, they want to pay their rent, a place to live, and they are good.
Many of them would want to buy too, but they're just unable to at this time.
Circumstances.
So they're forced to rent.
Right. I don't use credit as an aspect of rental. And one of the reasons is that chances are if they have a great job and they have great credit, they save a little bit of down payment, they'll go and buy a home, right? But I got many tenants, I've known many clients who got tenants that have poor credit, but they make great, awesome long-term tenants.
It's more like the wings are broken. They can't really fly too far.
Right. Well, they are. Yeah, they will stay there for a longer period of time, right? So that would make great, awesome tenants. Many of these tenants, I was a tenant once. I used when I first came to the country.
I've been there too
for a number of years, and I never know what it takes to buy a home. So as a first-time buyer from a mortgage perspective, could you walk us through and tell us, Andre, what is needed to buy a home? How should we start to save? What's are some important criteria?
I would say start with the credit first.
Yeah.
People that contact me for a mortgage, I usually start the conversation as whether if they're in a deal or about to think about doing a deal, and if it's the latter, then I say, please pull your credit report yourself. And then once you have it, let's meet and speak, right? A lot of people feel resentment when it comes up to that, and they say, why don't you pull it? You're a broker. And I'm saying, listen, I'm trying to help you here, right? Because when you pull it yourself, there's no impact to the score. And then from there, we can build upon it, right?
Hold your thought there. With the end of the year coming up, it would be a good idea for first-time buyers to look at the RSP options. Right?
Oh, for sure.
They could maximize their RSP, which in turn they can use towards their down payment.
Yeah, especially when their employers match their contributions, right? So it's like putting free money against the hard-earned money that you're earning, right? So it's
Yeah,
a
but-
win-win for both.
But if your employer matches your contribution, chances are it's a contributory pension plan. They may not be able to take out that money.
Correct, but there are still some where they'll match a certain percentage, not the
okay.
full amount, right? So
Okay,
it's
yeah,
like
just
up
to
to.
clarify that.
Correct,
right?
correct, correct.
Good, okay.
You're right.
So the trick is here, if you're obviously we pay income tax, so by buying RSP, right, it brings that tax bracket down. We get back some money from the government when we file our tax next year.
Correct.
All right. Then at that point we can utilize up to $25,000.
Yeah, as a first-time
per-
buyer.
Per person
Per
that are
person.
first-time buyer,
So
right?
if you're a couple, then that's 50,000,
50,000. You
25
get
each.
what, 15 years to pay it back?
Yeah, 15 years to
Plus
pay
2
back.
years grace
17.
period,
Yeah.
17 years indirectly, right? To
Yeah.
pay that back.
And there's another thing, depending on your credit situation, if it's strong enough and you have good income, then you can look at getting an RSP loan to even spearhead that faster, right? So
Yeah.
we can accelerate it within 90 days. You're able to pull it out, and there you have your down payment.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So many people, if you are renting, always remember you can buy. Make sure the credit is kept clean, impeccable. Make sure that you're employed for at least 2 years, because I think that's an important criteria. And save for your down payment. It don't have to be a lot. If you got $10, $15, $20,000, at least you can start from a small condo.
Start from scratch.
Yep, for sure.
Right? Buy within your budget. It's better than paying rent. And then you move on from there. But don't stay in rental forever. Rental is okay, but you want to move on eventually.
Try to make it short term and have a plan in place, an exit plan, 5 to 7, 8 years, somewhere there.
And one thing about the credit, be sure to look out for those bugger phone bill companies, okay? All right, because that right
Yes.
there hurts so many people's credits, and they are unaware of the fact that they are reporting on their bureaus, right?
I guess the lender looks at it as if you can't pay this small phone bill of what, 70, 80 bucks. I mean, how you gonna manage a mortgage of 300 or even, say, let's say 300?
Of course.
It shows a pattern of how you operate, right? So
And I believe a lot of people believe that because it's so small, they don't pay attention to it. But those are the
I'll
stuff.
double up
Yeah.
next month.
yeah, the best thing to do for that, if you're one of those persons that have this issue, put it on a pre-authorized payment on your credit card, and that way
Automatic.
automatically that bill is covered, and then you don't have to worry about it.
For our viewers who have bad credit, can you assist them as well in time to help them to build that credit back?
Definitely.
How- What are some of the things involved to rebuilding someone's credit?
Rebuilding the credit, it's a twofold step, right? First, we got to look at it and identify where the issues are. And then once we identify the issues, then we work out a game plan of how to solve those issues, right? The number one thing is to get new credit and use it correctly. And then we have to work on paying off all the pre-existing bad things.
Okay, that's important. Now we have many of our clients come to us. Some say, "Hey, you know what? I filed bankruptcy 3 years ago. I want to buy again." Some are saying, "Hey, I got consumer proposal where I consolidate everything, and I'm along that line presently." What are some of your advice for these people?
So, with the bankruptcy rules, basically, as Andrew said before, there are lenders that can still entertain it even while you're within it. They would want to see a letter from the trustee showing that you're making your payments regularly. But bottom line, your objective is to get an A deal, right? So when I mean by A deal, that is the big banks where you're not paying fees and you're getting the best interest rates. Those situations, now there are lenders that will still give you a financing, but you have to meet a certain threshold, and that is being discharged for 2 years and having 2 active trading lines for 2 years.
And to get going on getting a trade line, you might have to put a security deposit. Like
Correct.
Okay.
Put a security deposit whereby you put your own money,
Yeah.
and that enables you to get a credit card. You use it consistently, pay it back in timely manner, and gradually build your credit up.
And then you'll be getting offers for new cards where you don't have to put any money in as time goes by.
Your credit is like your DNA when
Oh,
it
yeah.
comes to, owning real estate. And life on the whole, people take advantage of you when your credit is bad.
Correct.
You get all the higher crappy interest rates.
You would think that's a time they would help you, but that's a time everyone is against you.
Right.
Because you're more of a risk at that
Yeah.
time, right? So, yeah.
Wow, yeah, so that's an area that's very, very dangerous. Now that brings me up to one other question I want to ask Andrew. Andrew, now, there are many people on the borderline who have a home and they are paying, but you know what? They fall behind their payment and the bank is about to step in. What kind of advice you can give to these people?
First and foremost, I mean, what we have to look at is, okay, you're falling behind. There's a reason why you're falling behind. We have to identify the reason. What a lot of people tend to do is try to hold on for dear life
Right.
and only dig themselves in deeper and deeper hole. Sometimes it's in their best advantage to try to refinance, try to get a new mortgage, which might be difficult based on their credit.
Well, look at it this way. I'm a banker, for example. Let's say I'm a banker, and somebody is coming to me, and they already owe another bank. I may not want to lend them. I
True,
already
true.
smell the rat.
So at that point, my advice to them it would be, I mean, your home is more than just wall and ceiling. So you build up a lot of memories in there. Sometimes you don't want to let go of it. It's in your best interest to dispose of the home, take your losses or collect whatever you can get from it and start afresh. As opposed to trying to hold on and get yourself in more second mortgages, third mortgages, I've even seen fourth mortgages. And at the end of the day, you pretty much have nothing in the home. You're just pretty much just paying.
It all depends on the circumstance, but you're absolutely right. Like, I mean, if there's a game plan put into play where there is a way out, then. But I mean, if it's something that's reoccurring and it's coming
And
again and they're doing the
that
same thing
seems to
over,
be the
then
case.
at that point you should know that, listen, you keep tapping into that equity, you are now dwindling what money you can take out from that property, right? And that money that you can take out from that property would be more powerful for you, because suppose you invested $200,000 and you were making $2,000 a month. That $2,000 a month could easily pay for you to rent somewhere, and guess what? You're living for free now, and your $200,000 is secured, right? So it's all, as a good wise man told me, there's many ways to skin a cat, right? And at the end of the day, that's basically what it boils down to. But I guess the ego, the emotion of having that home and the attachment, that's a whole nother ballpark, right?
It becomes very emotional for a
It
lot
is
of people.
emotional, but there are ways out sometime. I mean, even if your home is about to go power of sale, right, you have something called a right of redemption. That if you can bring that mortgage back up to standard, you know, you have that right.
Correct.
And many time it means considering a mortgage broker like yourself, sit with you and see what's involved, and maybe we can readjust the mortgage a little bit. Maybe we can organize a different payment structure and get that looked after.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes you could even have the option of taking out some of the money and pay off the other debts.
Of
Because many of the
course,
time,
of
that's where the real problem is. The other debts that you're carrying, the car loan, the credit cards.
Good consolidation might be a good idea.
The key to it is seek help from the onset. Don't wait for the last minute and then try to recoup the
And don't just
losses.
go by what some people are just willing to tell you what you want to hear. You want to get down to the facts. And I tell clients all the time, if you have any doubts, just Google. Make Google your
When
best
in
friend.
doubt, Google.
Yeah, make Google your best
I
friend.
like that. Usually I say when in doubt, don't do. But you
Yeah.
were saying when in doubt, Google.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Because
another one,
all the information is there. That's
you
but a
just
lot
gotta
of people
do
are not
it.
aware of this.
Other than that, you know what, call us. We are here to serve the community, to tell you guys what to do, what not to do. We don't know all, but whatsoever we know, we'll share.
And whatever we don't know, we Google.
And we'll find out from other professionals as well, all right?
Definitely,
So that's a
definitely.
way to go, but on a long term, real estate is always a product that goes up in value. We are expecting next year to grow between 3 to 5% in real estate value.
And immigration still remains to be the most the driving force behind it, right?
Of course.
Everyone wants to come to the GTA.
Oh, yeah.
Of
Cheesecake Factory is here in the GTA. So imagine that. We are a mecca now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the value will continue going up. So now, what's your last thought?
The last thought is, like you said already, if you have questions, like the title says, let's talk. Give us a call. Call Andrew, call Jay, call myself, your trusted advisors.
And our advice is pretty much free.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, and see you next week on Let's Talk Real Estate. Hello, my name is Jay Bridgeball. I'm a real estate broker since 1988. I've seen the good days, the bad days, and the not so bad days. My passion is to educate consumer about all aspects in real estate. Actually, I sold over $1.75 billion in real estate. Now, that's a lot of experience. I went through many failures, many successes, and I've seen many stories that you will be amazed. Not everything looks so glamorous as it is sometimes. On Let's Talk Real Estate, we will dig deep down and I will take you step by step through every process, from buying your first home to buying a multi-million-dollar investment property. We will have various people on this show. Lawyers, investors, we'll have mortgage brokers, appraisals, and everyone else to assist us to take you to that point. My aim is to break it down in such easy terms that you will be able to follow. So please join me every Thursday between 1 and 2, and let's talk real estate.